Hey, good evening, gang. This is Mayor Tom O'Leary coming to you on August 17th. Glad to have you tune in. We're going to hit on a couple of topics. In a humorous vein, there's probably nothing more alarming. Well, that's not quite the way to say it. I started out this morning with a phone call that Matt received from my high school English teacher. And she pointed out to Matt how unartfully I had described Aspen Terrace. And so she's right, and I want to clarify. If you remember last week, we were talking about housing and a number of developments. And I'm not sure if it was the way it was reported in the Inquirer or that in a combination of how I said it a week ago. But the point is that a assisted living facility, not what Aspen Terrace is in any way, shape, or form, but an assisted living facility helps the housing market overall in similar ways, in that oftentimes the people that have moved into Aspen, particularly people who are from Galion originally, if you will, have moved out of a nice home in Galion and therefore opened up that home as an existing part of housing stock. And I think gives, I want to say younger necessarily, but newer homeowners a chance to take advantage of real estate value on some of these homes. That's way different than what's being proposed and was formally proposed today by Galion Health Realty. I think that was what they called themselves. The same company that is the operator owner of Mill Creek made a proposal to the Planning Commission to construct a 40-unit assisted living. And what, in discussions with the developer, I think what the point I was trying to make last week, I think was reinforced in that although he didn't have firm data, his thought was of the 40 units that they're going to build, that it's likely that 25 or maybe more of those units will be initially occupied by somebody from either the Galion zip code or nearby zip codes. And I think that's the hope, that as people move out of nice homes, that frees up opportunities for other people. It's a slower progression to get 20 or 25 new homes built in Galion. So that's really the point I was trying to make. And so as usual, my English teacher from high school is correct, and I need to clarify that. So I do appreciate the call from Marilyn this morning. So, any event, to move ahead, to just finish the discussion, what was approved initially by the Planning Commission, and now will go to City Council for public hearing and hopefully a change, is a change in zoning out there. I think most people are familiar with the lot. If you're not, it would be the southwest quadrant of the Hosfer Road, Portland Way, and I'm gonna draw a blank on what John Street is when it turns the corner, and Henry Street, I believe it is. Mm-hmm. So right at that intersection on that southwest corner is where the proposal is, in front of the orthopedic facility and just north of Mill Creek. So pretty exciting. 40 units of assisted living is good for so many ways in the community, and we're excited that they're going to make that investment here. Not the least of which is they expect to have 30 jobs in that assisted living facility. So those are real valuable jobs in this community, in a community that has a number of really quality nursing facilities. Knock on wood, in this community, we've had real good luck with maintenance of health and safety of the residents and for the workers. So hopefully they'll maintain that, and this would just be another way to build the housing stock in the community, some alternatives for people who want to get out of their own home, and I think good overall for Galion. So that's that will be going through this sort of permitting process, rezoning process, and And the representative from the company today said they hope for a spring startup on that. So I suppose part of it in terms of moving dirt to get the site level, they probably like to do that before winter time, but that only be determined a little bit by this getting the rezoning done and then what kind of weather we have in the fall. So that's enough on that topic. Who's been outside? There's a few people who I know personally, and I'm not trying to upset them, but because they don't like mosquito spraying is the point. Who's been outside and just about got eaten alive the last week or so? And if you raise your hand, we've just really been hit over the last few days, maybe last week or so. So we're mobilizing for yet another mosquito spraying, and what we'll do is get, as we have done in the last few years, get those dates out there through our Facebook site and try to get it out through the more traditional media about the days and the quadrants and when we hope to be out there. So help's on the way. And in the meantime, keep whoever makes off. What is that, Johnson & Johnson, I think? S.E. Johnson, keep them in business. You probably have to use off for another week or so. Or whatever product, Next thing that I want to talk about, really have a couple more and then we'll try to go to questions. I don't want to keep you away from the Democratic convention, so I'll try to hurry. Well, maybe I won't try to hurry. But anyway, I get a lot of questions about alleys. There's no doubt that that's one of the biggest challenges, to keep the condition of alleys up to what everyone hopes and expects their alley, or the alleys that they use a lot, will be well maintained. So I want to just take a second or two to report on the fact that the alleys that we had scheduled, our crew's done a particularly good job. We've had very few rain days, and so that crew has covered that planned number of alleys for this construction season. It would be more boring than, remember in the old days where they would read the schools that were closed or delayed, and that would go on and on. You're trying to get some real news. If I went on the list of alleys that have been done, it would be a lot like that. So I guess we've, in addition to those planned alleys, I think by word of mouth or in other ways, requests have come in to try to reclaim additional alleys. And so if you haven't had a chance and you haven't seen our crew, without asking to be bombarded in here in the morning, but probably will be, call up here at 468-1857, and we'll get the word back to the street department if there's some alleys in particular that are in bad shape. We clearly have plenty of weeks left in the construction season or in the good weather before we start the leaf pickup. So has been an emphasis of one of our crews most of the summer. And so just to report back, that's where we're at. I believe if we get most of the actual filling of the holes, there's an effort to try to get a tack coat or some finish coat on there to provide at least not a real tarry surface, but to try to hold what's been put down in place, and we'll kind of see how that goes as we get into the early fall. Last thing, how sometimes something gets under your skin, or a stone in your shoe, or whatever expression. And over the last couple of weeks, I've caught myself really irritated by the behavior of some folks in town, mostly young people, at an investment that the city made of freeze dollars down at the park. And so I just had, my latest episode, so I'll tell a story. I found a couple of, they had to be pre-teenagers or pre-16-year-olds because they got on their bikes after I shooed them away. But as I went through the park, didn't see many people at the new playground. But I did notice over on the roof of the old bathrooms, a couple of young people. So I kind of swung around the corner and got out of the car and acted like an old man and shoot them off of there. And we got a lot of work to do, because the attitude of those young people towards another adult asking them to get off the roof, which is obviously, heck, they wouldn't have got on the roof if they didn't think it was cool and a thrill to be up there. So being up there present pretty serious risk, and reinforced a couple things. One, it won't be long, we'll have that thing tore down, because we can't have people doing that. And two, the reaction of at least these two young people in town, the notion that they had a right to question why an adult had asked them to get off city property. So anyways, that's my story. I think that probably be matched, and maybe Facebook will go wild over that. There's probably a number of situations, instances like that, and while I don't have the answer, we're gonna have to convene all those that are interested in it, meaning parents of young people, leaders within the school community, any other interested groups, and we're gonna have to find an effective way to knuckle down on this behavior. And knuckle's probably the wrong word. That'll get some soft-shelled folks upset with that, but it's just not acceptable. And I don't know, without being too big of a crybaby, Gallion, we got to be better than that. And the vast majority of the kids are better than that. But if there was such a thing as the big bullies that would bully on these little bullies, I might even try that. But I don't know if I say that only facetiously. So we're going to focus on it. We've already reached out to the schools, and we're going to try to get the PD, police department involved. As I said just a second ago, maybe interested parents. There's other people who are responsible for young people in the community other than folks' bio parents, so we may have to engage the foster network in some cases. We may have to talk to the surrogates, those kinship caregivers, to use the bureaucratic term, and try to tackle this, because I think the city, for sure the city is interested in providing someplace, something for this group that's too big for the playground but too young for driving a car. And so I think that's what the solution is. Banning people from the park and cracking down is not, I don't think that's very effective in the long run. It might just breed a more difficult to deal with young adolescents. So one other thing, and then we'll go to questions. It was suggested today, and it'll probably happen, that the riding of bicycles, even though it's pretty cool, and if you're the only one out there riding a bicycle on the new playground, that'd be pretty cool. But I think, I've seen it, and I've just heard from people whose opinion I respect, that's becoming a problem. And so, young teenagers riding their bikes through where you've got little kids from all ages, preschool up to elementary school. We can't have that. It's an oil and water situation. And perhaps the solution to some of these kids not having anything to do might be in doing something to create some place for kids to ride bikes and do bike tricks or whatever one might. Boy, that bike trick, that is like, all right, it's time for Grandpa to take a nap. But I hope I've conveyed the sort of intolerance. We can't let this go on. It's spoiling a really cool thing that vast majority of the time. Now I'm repeating myself from last week. You go down there, people are having fun. We're not going to have a certain number of kids taking that over, and so I think part of it is getting serious with them from the family and community level, and another part of it is try to figure out what substitute for swearing and raking havoc with younger kids we can come up with a certain group of kids who aren't involved in extracurriculars or other things. So I don't know. I don't like to be in a fuddy-duddy, but we're just not going to put up with this. And the video detection's on the way, so we're going to try to do kind of your basic 7-Eleven kind of thing, you know, not real high definition in this recent series of complaints. So we're going with high definition, state of the art. Our plan is to have Wi-Fi so that as vandalism, destruction happens down there, the police officer on duty will be able to have that synced right to their phone or to their laptop that they have in their cruiser, and I think that will help us get there in a timely way, and it certainly will help us as we look at what can be done within the juvenile court system. So, all right, no fun, Tom has run out of just run out of patience. So I'll stop at that point and let you know we're going to try to convene all the relevant parties and see if we can't come up with a good workable solution for what we have going in the wrong direction now. So, all right.
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
Yeah.
First question tonight comes from Matthew. He says he has a roadwork sign in his yard as well as some markings for underground utilities, and he has not gotten a response when he called up to the city on what it's for. He lives over on Tid Drive.
Oh, okay. I suspect that has to do with the state project, and on our I believe our website or our Facebook site will have the number up there that really puts you in contact with the ODOT garage. So what I'm telling you now is my best guess, and that is that the signs are in the city road right away, and the utility markings to make sure that as they do the resurfacing out in front or out on Bucyrus Road, that they don't, that you're advised of that as you pull up, say going southbound, pulling up to Bucyrus Road. That's really what that sign is meant to let you know that there's construction going on. Kind of obvious, but there's a certain required sign layout that you're going to see ODOT do every time they do a project. I hope that answers it. I don't know the number off the top of my head, but the questions like that are probably best handled by getting them from ODOT rather than trying to get a City of Galion translator. So hope that helps, Matt.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Next question tonight comes from Ashley. Can we see about fencing the road that goes through Heights Park to separate it from playground areas, or at least get speed bumps?
I mean, slow down traffic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about that, Ashley. I hadn't actually thought of that. Speed bumps are. I can imagine that Ashley is not a motorcycle rider, because most people who ride motorcycles or bicycles are really not hugely fond of speed bumps. Yeah, I don't know. The only thing we've talked about, Ashley, is the days of video detection on speed, but that was so misused, the use of video detection, that I'm not saying bring it back in the park, but. Yeah, I think that it's an issue and a problem, and probably the best way is to have some increased level of enforcement. I'm not sure where we would put speed bumps, how often we would put those speed bumps down that would really slow people down. I think from the football, baseball field parking lot, west to Portland Way is where I really see the most, kids speeding up, oh boy, what a fuddy-duddy, folks speeding up and driving irresponsibly. It's funny, by the time you go past the swimming pool, my direct experience is people slow down by the time they go by there, but yeah, all summer long, it makes you want to hold your breath. So I guess the short answer is Speed enforcement, I doubt if we put speed bumps. If we did anything to slow the traffic, we would do the, if you will, the reverse speed bumps where they're milled out, kind of like a rumble strip, if you will, when you leave the pavement out on a lot of state routes. Does the same thing to alert a responsible driver they're going too fast. Fair enough.
Okay. We had a kind of a separate but related question for the Harding Way project from Dawn. Is there a way that in the future projects on Harding Way can be maintained as walkable? I walk daily, and at this point, I have no way to enter the roadway at almost every intersection.
Yeah, I don't know. I would say the short answer is use Church Street. I said that to an 80-year-old friend of mine. She looked like I hit her in the head with a mallet or something. I don't know. It is best understood as getting that project done efficiently. And I think that you'll see in a matter of a couple days, Dawn, that most of those the rebuilds of the handicap access, those will be completed. Or at least you'll be able to go down either the south or north side. The last thing I would say about that is I'm glad they're working at it. I wouldn't want them to slow down, even though it does present for the next week or two. And Harding Way gets you places that I know Atwood and Walnut just don't work. I think Church Street is a workable alternative.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. Next topic here came from Patty. Subject is trees beside the road. She does not feel she should have to cut a tree down she's got, and just doesn't feel it should be the responsibility of the property owner.
I would say that topic is, I rarely do this, but this sounds like I'm going to slough it off on council, so that'll probably ignite a couple of questions from council members. But my take on that is that there isn't a strong consensus about what to do about those trees. So I'm not sure where she lives exactly, but if there isn't a power line in close proximity, there really isn't currently a source of funds or a way to get those trees taken down. On council, there's perhaps a difference of opinion among the members. And this is the part that I think we have to sort of work that out about what to do with trees that, let's say, are on the other side of the city's power lines. And there are a lot of them. And again, not knowing exactly where she lives, where she's referring to the older the section of town it is, certainly the larger the trees are, and probably a greater percentage of those that are hollow in the center and are not only maybe unsightly but difficult to look at. So I don't know what the shorter answer is. No one feels like they should do that, but the way that they're responsible for it, but the way the ordinances have been passed, that's the way it is. That there's a split of opinion in two different ordinances about whether or not those are the city's trees or, if you will, your tree. So, the solution is, I think the solution is to allocate, let's just drop a number out of the sky, $100,000, which would get us maybe 25 of the worst trees, and just make a commitment to take care of those trees, not near the electric lines, 25, 30 a year, that kind of thing. That might be a way to begin to chop away, at this problem.
Okay, thanks, Mayor. Those are all the questions I have at this time.
Yeah, I don't, I know that that issue is, that I was just asked to address, that was an unsatisfactory answer. But I tried to do the best I could, that I think we're gonna have to look at the existing ordinances, reconcile the differences between these two ordinances, and then, go about tackling perhaps on the electric, the trees that are directly impacted by the electric, address that a little more aggressively, and then, as I said a moment ago, take some of the existing city resources and put them into that, to sort of, work away at what I think most everyone would consider as a backlog of those projects. All right, I'm gonna wrap up here real quick by saying, got another question?
Yeah.
Go ahead, we'll do it, yeah.
Yep, this one just came in from Tammy. When will the fence be completed at the bike path?
It was funny, Tammy must be frigging brilliant, because I just had that thought. Was out there today, it looks nice. I think that, really, although we didn't get that direction in today, that orange snow fence, which people have been out there knows kind of separates the now frequently used bike path from the very southern end. I think we'll get that fence down, and we're really in the process of lining up the additional topsoil to cover some of the rougher areas, get some regrading done, get the seeding completed, and then we'll have sort of a brief formal ribbon cutting. But to answer the question, it should be open, and check it out tomorrow sometime. We'll try to get that orange fence down. The fence is completed. I think it looks pretty nice. And I think it will work, its desired purpose. So, any other questions?
That is all I had.
That is all. I don't have much else, and I didn't want to pull you away too long from the convention, but if you're sharing this on Facebook, have fun. I'll make fun of the next week. We'll be picking on Trump and the Republicans. So, thanks a lot, Guyan. I think appreciate the progress we're making, and on these issues I've raised. I think we really need to focus on getting the behavior in the parks, under tow. We're going into the school season or school year, and there'll be hundreds of kids going through the park once school starts, and we can't have what we've got going on now escalate into anything worse. So I'm wagging my finger at the goofballs out there. Don't ruin it for everyone else. And with that said, see you next week. Good night.